it's finally time. So today, I'll be talking to you about my trading card game I've been working on for around 3 years at this point. Kadeverse Kards has gone through 3 main renditions. So we're just going to sit here and really talk about it. I will show some stuff later, as I'll make kind of a series of videos going through all of the cards, because there's actually 245 cards I planned in the first set, which is kind of insane. But yeah, let's talk about it. So Kadeverse Kards is a trading card game I made around 2020. Although it wasn't Kadeverse Kards, it was like Crazy Cards or something. And kind of the main character was Caterpillar. It's on my logo. And yeah, it was kind of like Crazy Caterpillar Cards. Yeah, that's what it was. And all the cards were caterpillars. However, I never really got past the planning stage even. I made the rulebook, but not any cards. And then I renamed it to Crazy Cards so I can include some of my other characters. That didn't work. So I kind of just gave up for a bit. Then I believe 2021. Yeah. 2021, something like that. I made Kadeverse Kards. That's what his name is, 1.0. Now, maybe one day I'll look back, but like, it was so unbalanced. There's no resource system. Everything was just kind of just insane. Like, there's so many broken cards and archetypes. If you don't know, archetypes are in a card game. They're essentially a group of cards that work together. You didn't even need you didn't need all of the pieces of the puzzle. You just play the best one and you win. So, 2.0 fixed a lot of things, made archetypes more valuable, although, and added a resource system, added even like splitting cards in different regions of the Kadeverse, although the game mainly takes place on Kurama, which is like the planet. It's the Earth of the Kadeverse. It's kind of the main planet. Although, of course, creatures live on other planets, because this is a fictional universe. Why would I not do that? So, yeah. I'm kind of there. And yeah. And then 3.0 came around, added 2 new types of cards. So originally there was creatures and spells. Creatures were your main attackers, whatever. Your Pokemon, your creatures, your monsters, whatever. And your spells were your trainer cards, your spell cards. You just play them, you do an effect. You have item cards, which are, I guess, like Pokemon tools from Pokemon card game. You attach them to a creature, and it does something. And then location cards are pretty similar to stadiums and Pokemon, although they lean much more heavily on affecting both players, as in Pokemon usually. It really only affects like one type of Pokemon or like one of this, but no, this like really affects both players. So it's kind of like a risk-reward kind of thing. And the main goal of the game is to attack your player directly. So similar to Violent Veggies, I suppose, although I made this before Violent Veggies. And yeah, so Violent Veggies, I guess you could say, is kind of like a dumbed down version of this game. Or really any TCG. It's essentially just a TCG as a normal card game. So, yeah. But, yes, you have 4 block cards in front of you face down. So when your opponent attacks you, you pick up one of them, you get to use it. So, it kind of helps a player that is losing severely. They might get a good card, and they even get to play it for half cost. Because in this game, all cards cost a currency called KP. Why is it called that? I don't know. It could be K'd points. It could be whatever. You start with 5 at the start of the game, and you gain 3 every one of your turns. Which might sound like a lot, but a lot of cards cost 3 or more KP. So you're going to want to spend your stuff wisely. Or save it up and play the best card. Whatever. I've played a ton of the games. My prototypes right here of the 3.0 rendition, and it's worked out fairly well. So, suppose I'll show you some. Yeah, there's only literally 2 pages of like kind of rules and stuff, and then we get straight into the cards. First page should. Oh yeah, that's flipped on its side. Anyways, I'll just. So, in Kurama, it's a vast planet with many regions, and like biomes. So you have Hulu. So you have the forests where kind of the caterpillar lives. So that guy, although I redid his entire design to make him, I guess, just more interesting. But yeah, so you have Hulu. This side's like, foresty, filled with bugs or creatures or whatever. And then you have this side mainly, these guys, they like have a kingdom and stuff. And yeah, so it's mainly just a balance of offense and defense, not really any powerful cards leaning on one side. Frostinia, if you can tell, ice. It's a snow world. It's a snow biome, it's very interesting. I mean, there's like an ice beach, there's some other stuff, but you're just kind of slowing down your opponent with defensive cards. Claudia is up in the sky, so most of the regions are kind of connected by like rivers and stuff. Cloudy is just separate from that. It's like above, up in the sky, and it's connected by rainbow bridges made by these bridge builder dudes. That's pretty interesting. And yeah, they focus on defense and a lot of healing. Tekla, which is now renamed to Zapawati, because I thought that was more interesting. And I believe another card game uses a very similar name for like a similar purpose. So yeah, but its motive is still the same. Just spam your opponent with crazy creatures and destroy them. Or just like weaker, less expensive creatures, or with weird effects and stuff. Luvanos, it's just your big offense, Like, I guess your Charizard cards, where they're... Now, a lot of these days, Charizard cards are good, but, it's just big numbers, Good damage, probably bad card. But there's actually some decent cards in this, so it's not the worst thing. This also, for some reason, contains a lot of undead cards. I'll get more into that in a second. Sandu, defense, again, another defense. You have like two main offense and defense ones. This one kind of prevents opponents from really playing your cards or just like bouncing them back or weird shenanigans. You have Puff Zerg. This one punishes your opponent for attacking you, and they're just kind of like the rogue. They're just kind of there. They like this was kind of just written because but like honestly, they don't really have a set kind of purpose. They're kind of just all over, mainly offense though. Although there is some good defensive cards. Unknown. These are just random. They doesn't count as a region, so you have 2 regions in your deck. So like you can have Hulu and Luvanos and Unknown, since it doesn't count as a region. But you can't do like Hulu, Frostinia, and Claudia. No, you can't do that. And unknowns mostly contain just spell cards that you would put in any deck. Just don't look at that. It's not like spoilers or anything. I just kind of scrapped it. But yeah, or in some creatures. Next page. So you see, this was kind of like the back, although it never happened. Anyways, so so this was before there was HP for players, but instead you have 4 cards in front of you, as shown here. You have the block cards, so that card's attacking me. Boom, you get to pick one and play it for half cost. KP, the KP max is at 15. You can have 5 creatures on your field, 1 location that includes both players, and if an opponent plays a creature or a location card, the current one is discarded. So yeah, you can only have 8 cards max in your hand. And you start with 4, and you always draw at the start of the turn and gain 3 KP. I guess we'll talk about fusion cards. Fusion cards are kind of they're an interesting thing because while they do have good effects and they're definitely a good way to save up board space, like they do have a big cost, which is when you play a fusion card, you must kill the required cards. For example, Twin Player requires 2 Caterpillar cards, not just the Caterpillar card, but part of that archetype or group. I'll talk about that later. So yeah, you discard those 2 from your field, not your hand, and you play that. And they have much better stats, even sometimes rivaling like the overpowered creatures. Ignore this, it's like 2 locations, blah, blah, blah. No. Okay, so 40 cards in deck, not 40 to 50, because most people are going to put 50, so, they don't deck out easier or something like that. up to 3 copies of any card with the same name in the deck. Crappy conditions. Frozen, you flip it downwards, so like facing towards you, and it can't attack until Inflictor's next turn. Drowned, if the drowned creature does not kill a card in 3 turns, it dies. You flip it left. Poisoned, it takes 20 damage for 3 turns, flip it right, and bounce. Bounce, creature goes in your hand. Pretty self-explanatory. So yeah. Attributes. So, attributes are like keywords, essentially. Think of Magic the Gathering. You have cards with Flying or Reach, which are both in this game, but some other ones. So Flying, essentially they can just not be attacked by unless the card has Flying and Reach. Reach, they can attack flying creatures. I believe Magic, they can't be blocked, which I didn't really like because this is offensive. Whoa. So yeah. And I want this game to be a lot more defensive and kind of slower paced. Rage. This was scrapped, so don't ignore that. Tiny. When you attack, when the opponent attacks a card with Tiny, they flip a coin. If tails, the attack fails and it skips their turn. Thick. They just take 30 less damage from all attacks. Leeching was scrapped, but probably will return eventually. Undead. When it dies, flip a coin. If heads, you shuffle it back into your deck. And then Spiky, the creature you attack, this takes 10 damage, not 20. So, that's kind of the... oh my gosh, guys. I'm not sick, but losing my voice, kind of. I don't know, it's just around that time. But eventually, like, I'll have region profiles for every region, and including the prototype decks. Yeah, I made prototype decks. I can get them out. So, prototype decks for so far 4 regions. Probably have to make more than 8. So you have Hulu, Claudia, Zapawati, and Puffzerg. So yeah, I just want to talk about the new card game I'm making, and just as I'll be posting videos, probably every Friday, Saturday, just the weekend, to kind of just talk about my card game, what's going on, and mainly talking about going over like the first couple of weeks, probably going over each region, and if they have a prototype deck at the time, which hopefully I can get that through, they will. So yeah, kind of just channel update and a new direction for my videos. So yeah, subscribe and like, share this with your friends. Anything helps, really. So I want Kadeverse Kards to kind of get off the ground. I don't want to be, I don't really care if it's super popular, but just for, maybe even 100 people to know about this. But yeah, so appreciate everything you do, guys. Make sure you like and subscribe, and just have a good day, y'all. Bye.